We hear a lot about powerful problem-solving methods that work wonders in big cities. But what happens when you take one of those and truly adapt it for the unique landscape of rural India? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that. Design thinking for Bharat, and how it's creating a whole new framework for innovation from the ground up. And to really get a sense of the scale we're talking about, just look at this number, 800 million. That's not just a statistic, you guys. That represents a massive, massive landscape of incredible opportunity, diverse cultures, and of course, some very specific challenges that demand equally specific solutions.
So that leads to the big question, right? You can't just copy and paste what works in Mumbai or Silicon Valley and expect it to stick. It just won't. So how do you innovate for a context that is so fundamentally different? The answer, it turns out, is to change how you think about the problem in the first place.
Okay, so first things first, let's reframe how we look at this. The real opportunity in Bharat isn't about fixing deficits. Not at all. It's about designing for a complex, super dynamic environment by actually understanding its unique strengths and its challenges. So what makes this environment so unique? Well, the challenges are all deeply tangled together. We're talking about everything from making agriculture more efficient to delivering essentials like healthcare, all while trying to figure out these last-mile delivery puzzles, respecting deep-seated cultural nuances, and, this is a big one, working with real-world limits on resources and internet connectivity. So with all these interconnected challenges, what's the right tool for the job? It's not about finding one single piece of tech. It's about finding a new process. And that process is design thinking. At its heart, design thinking is actually beautifully simple. It's a process that forces you to put people first. So instead of starting with a cool gadget or a business plan, you start with deep empathy for the very people you're trying to help, so you can truly, truly understand what they need. And the process follows 5 pretty clear steps. You start with empathy, really getting to know your audience. That lets you define what the core problem actually is. Then you ideate, just brainstorm all kinds of solutions. You build a simple prototype, and finally, you test it with the community to get feedback and make it better. It's this awesome loop of listening, creating, and improving. But here's the crucial part. The real power of this whole toolkit isn't in following these steps rigidly like a recipe. No way. It's in knowing how to adapt them. For Bharat, you can't just use the standard key. You have to actually forge a new one that fits the local lock. I absolutely love this analogy. The innovator isn't some expert who flies in from far away. They're a community detective. Their first job is to just be there, on the ground, observing, listening, gathering clues from the community itself. The real solution grows out of that deep, first-hand investigation. This slide really lays out the whole shift in thinking perfectly. On the left, you've got your typical tech world model, digital first, aimed at global scale. But the approach for Bharat on the right is totally different. It's ground up and community first. The goal shifts from just scaling up to creating frugal, sustainable solutions that actually work in the real world, often with little to no internet. All right, so that's the theory. But what does this adapted framework actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at how these insights create some serious impact. You'll see the solutions are often brilliantly simple and incredibly effective. Okay, here's a classic, very real problem. Farmers work incredibly hard, right? But if there's no reliable electricity for refrigeration, a huge amount of their produce can spoil before it ever gets to market. How do you solve a problem like that? And check this out. This is such a brilliant illustration of the approach. The solution isn't some high-tech, expensive refrigerator. It's a low-tech cold storage unit built with local materials using natural cooling principles. And here's the most important part. It's managed by the community itself, which makes it truly sustainable. Okay, let's take another one. Delivering consistent healthcare across vast, remote areas is a massive logistical nightmare. How do you make sure people get the care they need, when they need it, especially when they're miles away from the nearest hospital? The solution here is just a perfect example of being community first. It's a mobile clinic, sure, but the magic is that it's operated by trusted local health workers, people the community already knows and trusts. And the whole thing is coordinated using super simple, accessible tech like text messages. It completely bypasses the need for high-speed internet. So smart. So, these examples show us that this is about way more than just a 5-step process. It's really about cultivating a whole new mindset, one that's all about empowering innovators right at the grassroots level. And that's the ultimate goal here. This framework isn't for outsiders to swoop in and fix things. It's designed to equip local entrepreneurs and community leaders with the tools they need to solve their own challenges from the inside out.
So, what are the big takeaways from all this? First, this adapted approach takes a complex global method and makes it practical and actionable on a local level. It helps bridge that development gap from the ground up, not the top down. It makes sure solutions are sustainable and actually make sense culturally. But most of all, it puts the power of innovation right where it belongs, in the hands of the community.
And if you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. The crucial point is that innovation isn't always about the newest tech or the biggest budget. So often, the most powerful, effective, and lasting solutions come from the people who live and breathe the problem every single day. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In our own work and our own communities, what amazing problems could we solve if we just made a conscious choice to start not with a piece of technology, but with simple, profound human empathy?